Alright, so I want to show you how to take out these bearings off this roller cage. The back one is kind of a pain. The front one is just a axle cap, and then it gets 2 sleeves replaced. That one's pretty easy. So overall this is pretty easy. But if you look at the inside of this cap, of this bearing, it's a push-in bearing, and it stops. It's got a stopper in the back, and it's got a retainer clip in the front, which I've gotten out. But there's nothing to grab onto to pull it out. There's no opening to do anything there, so I'm like, okay. So this is what the bearing looks like when it starts out. So this part right here I just cut out. This moves out. It actually goes like that. You just spin it and then just cut it in half. It comes out and it leaves that other shell. But there's no way to get any kind of clamp on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld this inside that, and there's going to be a hole right here, and then this right here is going to go on my 4-inch pipe right here, which actually goes up against that, like that. Okay, so this 4-inch pipe will have this still hot. Nice. Okay, sure, it's still hot. I just cut it. It's gonna have this welded on top of it. Okay, and then this right here is gonna have a hole in it, welded to that bushing, and then there's going to be a rod that goes through from here to there that is going to pull this thing out. So I'm creating actually a bearing puller. So I just want to give you a heads up before I get too much farther. I'm going to go ahead and weld this together. And then I'll shoot another movie. Okay, well, I got it out. It's out. It's not in there anymore. It's right there. So do you get the concept? You got to heat it up quite a bit too. There's the piece welded into it. Here's the bolt through it. So that's my puller. There you go. Alright, there's my 2 bearings I pulled out. There's the puller, and the second bearing I didn't even have to use heat. It pulled right out. It was pretty cool. Okay. Just a rod. Okay, so this bearing is your plate cap, axle cap for the front axle that actually goes over this axle that actually bolts to right here. So we're putting new sleeves in these right here. So the question is, how do you get them out? Well, my way is this way. So I'm going to weld this stud in there, which this one I already took out. This one I actually knocked out with a sledgehammer with this 2-inch pipe inserted into it. This one actually I'm going to use my press and push it out. So, and then I just got to put the new ones in there, and the guy told me to put them in the freezer, and then they'll just push in there pretty easy. So we'll see what happens on that. Yeah, I'll push this right out with this hydraulic lift. 20 ton. You don't even really need a 20 ton, but that should just push right out. The last one I just hit with a sledgehammer, this big sledgehammer. I heated it up a little bit, but this one I'm not even going to heat up. I'm just going to push out with the lift. So we'll see how it goes. All right, so here we go. They're all out. Right there is pushed out. That's what they were pushed out of. And this is what the new ones look like. They're like, well, how do you get that in there, man? Well, you pushed in the same way, but instead of pulling it out, you're pushing it in. Now, he recommends that you put this in the freezer. Makes it a lot easier because it constricts. So yeah, that's out. That's the pipe we used to push it out. Those are the bolts that we used to weld into it. I suggest going down in like an inch down in, because one of them broke the top off, and so I had to re-weld it. So just go as far down as you can and still get a weld. And as far as heat, yes or no. I tried heat, but I actually found out that my valve wasn't tight enough up here. And so I think with heat, it does definitely make it easier, because when I was doing it without heat, it would be kick, 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 like it was grabbing. With heat, it would just kind of push out. So, I mean, heat's not going to hurt it. You just use a little more fuel. But so I heated 3 out of 4, but so you can just try whatever you want to do. But it wouldn't hurt to heat it a little bit. So that's it, man. So tomorrow, or maybe Friday, because I got something to do tomorrow, I'll push these back in there. Then I'm going to start putting my rig back together. Get this place cleaned up, man. So yeah, waiting on a internal spring clamp tool, because those suckers are to get tight enough to fit in there. So they got to go in there in front of that on each side, and then that goes over that, and then the axle goes back in here, and there's 2 bolts on each axle inside that you have to tighten up. 4 bolts out here that that hold that axle to this trolley. This trolley right here. So yeah, not a big deal, right? I think they were going to charge like $400 to take those sleeves out, which honestly is probably worth it. I've probably spent 3 hours on it, and they're $135 an hour over there. So, but yeah, it's just depending upon if you want to save some money or not. Anyways, yeah. So it's raining out here a little bit today. So thank goodness I'm under the carport. Yeah, I poured this pad the other day right here to go from carport to my garage. So now I can just roll my toolboxes out, which is really sweet. Anyways, see you guys.